6 o'clock or close enough if you'd join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
6 o'clock, I call the Carson Select Board meeting of January 8th, 2026, first one of 2026 in order. All members present. Quick comment, this is the first of our new schedule of 2 meetings a month. The first Thursday, second Thursday, and fourth Thursday. Second and fourth Thursdays of the month. And our goal is to get out of here at a reasonable hour for each of those meetings, so.
Good luck.
So, having said that, first item, any adjustments to the agenda for tonight? Not hearing any. We'll move on to the town manager's report to provide an update on municipal operations, staffing, departmental issues, projects, grants, et cetera, et cetera.
So also included with this meeting's town manager report is a capital project report, which I think it's on item on the agenda, but just some project updates. As far as culverts go, I guess actually I could probably cover that when it's the project's update to see.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Sure.
Budget process, so the budget committee started to review the proposed fee updates. This should be being completed at this next budget meeting on January 12th, along with it being a joint workshop with the select board. If we're optimistic and time permits, we might be able to start talking about department budgets, but I did send the agenda to the budget committee today, and it looks like we're going to move up what we were originally scheduled for the 12th to the 26th, so which is Public Works and Transfer Station. I have most of it done at this point. Just waiting on. There's a couple. I got one more department I got to do, the insurance and benefits department, and I'm waiting on material from the sheriff's department for the public safety budget. Still working on the cell phone coverage issue. I'm waiting to hear from Crown Castle on a possible agreement with a cell carrier that would allow Crown Castle to install decorative streetlights with cell nodes. So still a work in progress, trying to get in touch with somebody at T-Mobile because I know they were involved with the project in Rumford. So boosters update. So the finance director and I have been working with the boosters to assist in the process of getting insurance. I think Maureen mentioned to me, she said, I think they might be a national organization. So I went online and there's a national boosters organization. And one of the things right on their website was that they offer insurance for local chapters. So I believe April told me that they have already joined that national organization and are working on getting insurance through them. It's pretty affordable. So they are moving forward with some help on getting insurance. I had a meeting with the Resilient Harrison Committee chair, and we're moving forward with the resilience grant with help through CB on some climate resiliency projects. We passed the pre-application phase for the community development block grant with Cumberland County for playground equipment at Radar, and what? Is it on there?
I thought we added it to town manager report.
The applications due, the full applications due on the 14th, so I just need permission to be able to.
If all works out, something would be happening well before summer.
Yeah, be in the spring. Technology updates. We've got an agreement with GP Cog. They're working with all of their towns on providing a digital audit of websites and all of their platforms. There's an upcoming federal regulation for ADA that's going to require certain features on websites and social media pages and things like that to make it a little more accessible for folks with disabilities. Catherine's been working on digitizing our personnel and HR files to a new share file program. And I'm shopping around right now for what's out there for code enforcement software. So first one I came across was Cloud Permit. They gave me a presentation and I gave some materials to the code enforcement officer. Their cost is about $8,600. Catherine has worked on doing some research with several other Cumberland County towns on what they use for code enforcement software. So I'll shop around and try to see if I can come up with something that will be user-friendly and affordable. I attended an advanced Excel workshop at Maine Municipal Association. They got a bunch of handouts, or digital handouts, and templates and formulas and all sort of stuff that I'll be able to start using right already with the budget. And speed software, I have the training tomorrow, the onboard training tomorrow for getting that new software going that was approved at the recent town meeting. So deputies are looking forward to that, and they will have access to it as well.
In regards to the code enforcement software, I know Norway's using some type over there, and then our harbor master, Mike Vane, is using it in Lovell. I don't know what company he's using.
Oh, really? Okay, so
Okay.
Mike would be somebody to talk to as well.
Questions? Town manager, thank you. That concise, keeping with our streamlined goals of moving things more quickly. And you'll be covering some of the projects. We have a separate item, capital project. Any questions from the public for the town manager on his streamlined monthly report? Not, the next item is additional reports, which would be a little more detail on any particular topics each thing we need to delve into deeper. No?
I did the code enforcement officer did include the plumbing permits, this report.
Yep.
Okay. How's general assistance going? Good?
I wrote up my report. That's good.
Good. So we have the departmental pages in front of us. If anybody has any questions on any of the specifics. All right. Plow season is underway.
Oh, it's underway, all right. Early and early and often this
Yeah.
year.
12 winter events already in the month of December.
It is now 14,
14?
since you wrote the report.
And I have a question on the house and fire EMS responses.
Yep.
So this is in line with, we'll start tracking this month by month as you started to. So this rate 50% in December. The other question I have is on the EMS call no response. So we would have to get that information as to when it occurred from Cumberland County Dispatch.
Well, there's no incident time on there. There had been in the past. I don't know why there
Yeah,
isn't
that's why I
this
mentioned
one.
it. So if you could, it would be good to know for the ones for which there wasn't a response.
Yeah. I'm also starting to map it as well, now that we're getting at least the street names included. And also, I did speak with the Naples town manager about the possibility of maybe having ambulance coverage out of Naples for the southern district of town. So I know that, I think the town's divided into 3 districts. 1 is sort of this end of town, and 2, I think, is over that way, and 3 is down towards Naples. So we'll see if maybe that could help as well with coverage, since Naples seems to be closer to that end of town, far down towards Naples, so.
And while we're on the topic, we got the approval to initiate some training activity.
Yep. So I'm working with United Ambulance on trying to set up a local EMT course, so. And there's also a company out of North Conway as well that
Okay.
I've been connected with through the Cumberland County Regional Fire and EMS training person, so.
Okay. And do you think that will segue into recruitment as well?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Okay, good.
Do we have anybody that has come forward yet since the money?
2 current town employees so far, and I'm waiting to get the class set up to be able to really be able to recruit for it.
Yep.
Once we know dates and that sort of thing.
Will we be able to, similar to what we're doing with EMS response coverage and response time, you started to do something similar with the sheriff's office? So we can kind of distinguish in-town responses from regional responses?
Yep.
And you're kind of tracking that information so we can compare.
Yeah, so if you look at the report from the Sheriff's Department response report, what the column way over to the right has the response times. If it was a contract unit that was in town, that's the first number. And if it's a regular regional sheriff unit, that would be the second column over, and the response times are averaged down at the bottom.
And in this case here, we've got the type of incident, the type of call.
Yeah,
So-
and I had because not all police issues are necessarily emergencies that require a response.
Okay.
So these are more of the emergent categories that I narrowed down. I think there should be a full report that has everything that includes, property checks, speed details, that sort of thing, whereas this is more narrowed down for response, so.
And the intent is by having all of this data, it'll help us in the budget process to decide. And then public safety is towards the end of the budget process.
Yep.
Any other questions on the additional
Wow,
reports?
this is all very interesting.
And all this information is available to the public if they want to come see it, correct? Just want to make sure.
So, having heard town manager's reports and additional reports, the next agenda item is public participation. If the public has any questions on non-agenda items or anything they've heard, this is an opportunity. See no hands. Moving along quickly. Hope we can keep this up for the whole year. Moving on to the next item is the consent agenda. There's 2 items, the approval of warrants, which I think have all been approved by signature, and the approval of the minutes for the select board meeting December 11th, 2025. If all are in agreement, we can make a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda as stated.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as stated.
Second.
No discussion, all in favor? 5-0. Moving along to old business. We have the finance policy. Somewhere.
That's on there.
What? Oh, in the back? Is what you said?
No, it's not in the back.
Yeah,
It's not
they-
together already, yeah.
She did give it to us before.
Yeah, I can make copies.
I saw this.
What is it?
Get a copy of it.
Oh, my job, Jim.
Does anybody recall if they had any questions from our first reading?
I actually, Jim, do you want to include anything about expense policies for members of the boards or committees and stuff like that in there? Because this really just refers to town employees and that part of it, but there is nothing called out for planning board, select board, budget committee, comprehensive plan, school committee, as to how to, what they should be doing.
Right, that would be in section 4, I believe, I think, right? Purchasing and procurement.
Talks about department heads.
Could be department heads and committee chairs.
It could, something, yeah.
We all have a copy of it.
I didn't bring my copy.
She's printing.
So I guess that's a request for an addition.
Yeah, I think there should be something called out for other groups that might be spending money.
So when I look through, I know what she's saying is there's nothing about how other groups submit
Right.
expenses.
Yep.
I think that's what you, yeah.
So we could change some language in section 4.2 that doesn't limit it to department heads. It could be duties of department heads and committee chairs.
Would that, you think, be sufficient? Or
Is that how we want them to, the committees to be operating? It's the same way as department heads?
as far as procurement? In other words, I would envision, let's take the comprehensive plan committee, that they would submit a request to purchase something to the town manager, and he would be sure that we're using the right vendor to purchase the material.
Okay, which is slightly different than what the department heads, they're sort of in charge of doing that.
So,
That's what I'm wondering, it's slightly different. That we have, any of those committees, should it be going to the town manager for handling?
Yeah, because right now, department heads can order up to $1,000 without,
Yep.
yeah, I don't think committees should be able to purchase anything without the town manager's
Yeah.
approval, so I think it's gotta be
So maybe a separate section,
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
duties of department heads or committees, maybe.
Committees.
Another section.
Section for
Committees and
committees.
boards.
A section for
Committees and boards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't think, there's nothing that's really like that.
The only other question, and I don't know if this is the correct place to have it, is how we go, or GAs reimburse, what that policy looks like. Is it done monthly or whatever? Should that be in here?
Where,
And it might be called out in the general assistance policy book, but do we want something in here that talks about getting a reimbursement from the state?
trying to think what section it would fall in.
Yeah, I don't
Is
know.
it a department? Is it, no? It's not really its own department.
Right.
You
and
you
it's-
want to look at
it's-
this? Okay.
And it's more getting the reimbursement versus spending money, but it is part of a financial policy.
So maybe it could be its own,
Its own little entity there that, you know, I don't know what the cadence is, if it's done monthly or what.
Would it be handled in a similar fashion to the way we get grant reimbursements?
I don't know, Catherine could tell us. She goes back.
I think it would have to be its own section. I
Agreed.
think if we're gonna put that in.
Catherine, do you know if general assistance is billed monthly? Do you bill that monthly to get reimbursed by the state, or how does it?
Reimbursement I do monthly.
Monthly? Thank you.
Are you suggesting we add general assistance or?
Well, I'm just thinking because it is, you know, financial policy that might be good if there are town people looking to understand that part of it, that it's right in there.
Would you envision it just describing that
Yep.
Process.
It's done on a monthly basis.
monthly basis
Yeah.
by the general
Yep.
assistance department head?
It could be included under financial operations probably, because it is kind of a financial operational thing.
Alright. Yep,
Wouldn't that make sense?
yep, it does. It's such I think it would be such little
feels-
language that it could maybe
Yeah.
just be like a section, yep, 3.10 maybe. GA.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Kristen, maybe?
And Deb, I got your email about, I've got-
Kristen, did you find that? There's a
Printed
spelling
that.
error in here.
what did you say, was it page 24?
Page 24.
Is that what you said?
It's just, instead of, I think it says certified public account, it should be accountant. Easily missed.
It- We're removing the reference to employee review.
Yep, and what page was that? Did you have something else as well besides that? You had a typo or, you mentioned something about something in the policy, and I can't remember what it was.
I had just mentioned to the town manager, there was a sentence in here that referenced an annual employee performance review. And I thought perhaps we should not include that in the finance policy, but leave that for the
An HR policy instead?
HR.
Yeah.
It's probably in financial controls.
So under monitoring, so page 23. I just suggested it, might be redundant,
Okay,
and
okay, yep.
just remove it out of the finance policy.
So just the last sentence, so the rest of that section is
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
right?
And John, this has the latest recommendations for minimum balances for the reserve funds. The thought process is we would approve this either tonight or next meeting and use that throughout the rest of the budget process for this upcoming budget.
I just have a question on section 9, the surplus and property disposal. Should it say how the property is disposed of? It just says with town manager's approval, but it's $100 up to $5,000. Are we going to be auctioning that off? Are we gonna be requesting bids on that? Or
Page 20?
page 20, yes.
So it references the town meeting, the article in the town meeting.
Yes, so in the annual town meeting, there's a warrant article that. Article 6, see if the voters will authorize the select board to dispose of town-owned property as they deem proper and return funds to reserve accounts associated with affected sales. So there's a town meeting article that authorizes the board to be able to have us dispose of that.
Which doesn't really, I think, address your question of, do we have to talk about the method?
Oh, the
The
method,
method.
yes.
Because I think the method should be in here so that anybody in the public that is looking at this policy knows how that we're getting rid of. It's not just going to my buddy's,
Typically,
pal on
it's
the
a
side that's gonna give me $100 for something that's worth. I wanna make sure it's all transparent.
bid process.
Yeah,
I think
bid
it's
process.
typically how
Or an auction,
material.
collect it all and, have something in the fall or whatever. We do have a very large public works garage up there that might be able to have room for enough of the stuff that needs to be stored inside, and either auction or go over to the West Paris auction, or just drop everything off over there. He has one I think Arsenal has one once a quarter.
So through a bid or auction, through bid or auction.
Process. Yeah.
That sounds right.
And that's up to the discretion of the town manager, I think, for 100 to 4,999, and then anything after that would be up to the select board's approval, like it says in here.
Any other? So John, it sounds like we'll take one more crack at this
Yep.
and hopefully approve it at the next meeting. So we still have 2 more weeks to put in any suggestions.
Yes, in the meantime, yeah, let me know if there's anything else that pops up that needs to be edited at all.
So we'll take no action on the finance policy tonight. Okay, just provide any further comments to John, and we'll plan to hopefully approve it at the next meeting. John, did you, facility use policy, we're gonna talk about that in the future?
Yeah, so I haven't gone any further with it beyond the draft that was presented at the last meeting. I know that, I believe the rec director was looking at some, I believe either a release form or a registration form or something like that for radar. So, I guess my question is, do we want this to also include radar? Because right now, this really just focuses on town land or facilities in general. with some specifics to the gazebo and the meeting rooms. So, is there content that we want to include in here beyond that? Do we want to, include radar, beaches, boat launches?
Is there specific differences about those that we should point out? If so, then yes. Like, is there something radar requires? I'm not familiar. That,
I mean, if a group wanted to use the pickleball courts on a regular basis, do they have to reserve the space with the town? Or could they just go there every Wednesday and use the space?
It's a free-for-all right now, from what I understand, but one of the things in the budget for the rec department is some software that could help try and, with scheduling and payments and things like that for use of radar, so.
I think it should be called out there, especially you have different sports teams using radar as well. And they're really, I don't think there's a written policy about how to, get the time on the fields.
and who gets priority? Like,
Right.
they would get priority during a certain season, maybe?
And I think it would be helpful to call out too with the beach, that the rec department uses the
Yep.
beach during rec hours. And the,
Should, and I think you're asking us to look and see if there's other things that should be included, maybe? Probably.
Just while
Yeah.
I'm doing it, I
Yep.
figure we may as well just, rather than have to end up creating a whole separate policy for radar or
Right.
beaches or whatever,
No sense.
since we're working on this now, I guess.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Any other input for John to?
so I guess with the boat launch too, the parking, reinforcing it as many places as we can.
So you're talking about this one that's called building permit requirements ordinance, or no? No,
There
you're
was
not.
one
You're
she was
not.
working on.
That's right.
So I think it comes from the fact that we had a couple of different, like we had a gazebo and
This one, town facilities improvement,
Yeah.
that one,
Yes.
that one, okay. Okay.
so do you want to spend a few minutes talking about the boat launch? The budget committee is looking at the recommendations from the fee committee. And one of them is to institute a mechanism for charging for use of the launch.
So that would go in here then, is what we're saying. Yes, right?
Yeah,
But,
that's-
but not for Harrison residents.
Oh.
Yeah, so whatever the language in the,
Yeah,
Just,
Fees.
let's make that clear.
that would be a policy. Yeah, right. We're not talking about the fee policy tonight.
No, but
Yeah,
I
right,
just
to be
wanna make
clear,
sure
right, we
that-
don't want to scare people.
Scare people that saying that we're looking to charge something to Harrison residents. when
Okay,
we're
so
not.
here's a question. Harrison residents or Harrison taxpayers?
Harrison
so,
taxpayers.
Because we know there's a.
No, Harrison,
Yeah.
on that, it has to be Harrison taxpayers.
we went around on
So just so we don't go too far afield, that there, is a discussion, ongoing discussion at the budget committee regarding fees and
Which I-
limitations. And
I think I've got some language straightened out to
Okay.
be able to mention to the.
so I would just say for tonight, I think we're just saying it's a town facility, so we'll have to figure out a way to incorporate without, and I think in general, we don't want to include specific fees in the policy, so we have to
Right, so
revisit.
then that way you don't have to update this anytime a fee changes.
Yes.
But in terms of the use of that facility, we'll have to figure out some wording that we want to put in here. So I think we're just kind of queuing up some things for you to think about for, okay. Any other thoughts for John?
Just for clarification, why that fee, I know we're not going into it, just so people understand also why we're doing that, because of how much work needs to be done down there. and we're trying so that we're not putting it on.
Costs the taxpayers money to
We're
maintain.
trying not to put it on the taxpayers, the burden on the taxpayers, but the people
Sure.
that actually use it, that aren't
So-
residents.
Yep, part of the whole budget process is to kind of look at all of the cost elements and see where any burden can be moved to the users of that, especially if they're not residents of the town. So for the facility use, we'll include the boat launch and figure out some wording. Okay. Enough guidance for John for the moment? All right, so we'll take no action on that, and we'll talk about that some more at the next meeting. So we'll move on to the next agenda item, new business. And first item there is the investment report.
Yeah, we just actually re-upped the CDARs with,
So let me just, so we're clear that I think our policy calls for an investment, a brief investment report once a year to the board. And that's what John is giving us now. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, that's all right.
Did you,
No, we just re-upped our CDs with Androscoggin Bank. I thought we were doing some of them 12 months, some of them 6 months, but I'm not sure if either this is a typo or I can double check on that, but either way, we just re-upped them, so this is,
if
the
you,
balance is correct, $3,244,11, with an interest rate not as much as we were hoping we were gonna get after we met with Androscoggin a few weeks ago, but 3.7796%. I believe some of this will be, some of it I believe is 6 months, some of it's 12 months. So it's a mix of 6 and 12 months
Yep,
for the
yep.
CDARs.
Yep.
And there's the Murray Scholarship through Charles Schwab. And I know that we have paid out some for scholarships, just this last, it should have been in the,
Yeah.
so. Town of Harrison Revocable Trust, permanent funds, by Portland Trust, balance of $681,165. And that's broken down by other specific funds below that. And then we have the Harrison Village Cemetery Fund. So that is at $198,597.76. Equitrust annuity, $91,071.54.
we should probably think about scheduling a visit on, there's I can't think of the name, but the fund that the town is, the select board's responsible, the custodial. I think it was this one with about $600,000 in it, or?
The Portland Trust one? The Portland Trust? It's on it's on the very end of
This one
that
here?
page. Yeah, the last page. Yeah, that. Is it this one you're thinking about?
No, the one that's managed by R.M. Davis.
Oh, that one.
I think in the past, they've come in and provided the board with a brief summary of what they do and how they manage the money. That I think our responsibility to make sure that the return is.
Oh, the Murray Scholarship?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, think about seeing if they're, if they could come in and just, the board, I think, should be aware of that. and it's a relatively new board. And it would be good to have them explain.
Who would come in, Charles Schwab? Or
R.M.
who's-
Davis.
Who's R.M. Davis? Is he a person or is he a company?
That'd be a
One of the public
person.
want to enlighten the board on any of the details on that fund?
The Murray Scholarship,
Yeah,
left by Commander Murray, strictly a scholarship program.
and R.M. Davis manages that
And they,
on behalf.
I provided an annual report direct to the board.
Is R.M. Davis a financial company
Advisor.
of
Yes.
advisor?
That's
Okay, thank
your
you.
person at Charles Schwab.
Okay, thank you.
So I think in terms of the educational aspect, maybe see if we can have them come in and enlighten the board.
Also, I'd like to see what they charge us, you know, and
Yeah.
the whole spreadsheet of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, they give a pretty thorough presentation, if I remember. It's been a few years, but,
Their report on the performance since it was formed and what their investment philosophy is and what the portfolio is.
so we'll put that on the schedule for,
If they're not invited for a meeting, do they provide that detail on a regular basis? You know, like paper reports? that you-
Yes.
Okay, good, okay,
They come every year.
good. Whether we like it or not.
Well,
Sometimes good news, sometimes bad.
there's
Actually,
no
this would be-
guarantees with the stock.
Mm-hmm,
right, but this probably would be a good year to have them come in and give a
Yep.
presentation.
yep.
The
Who-
board may want to provide guidance as to how much you want in stocks versus bonds, and also how aggressively you want to be in stocks.
Is that a contact you would have or Maureen would have, John?
Either one of us.
Okay,
Question in regards to the permanent funds. We have no breakdown of what the interest on any of those accounts are.
oh no, those are just percentage of the account.
Um, So I think you're saying what you'd like to see is next to the fund names, the fund balances.
Yeah,
Some-
how are they managed? I mean, are they,
Yeah.
it just says a revocable trust, but is it just in a savings account, or is it being actually managed by
Yep.
Portland Trust and being invested?
So,
I mean, we have close to 700,000, more than 700,000 being managed between the Harrison Village Cemetery Fund, and, I mean, it's close to probably $1 million. Are we getting anything more than, 3% on $1 million, or are we getting some investment? Some,
right, so similar to what we're talking about, where R.M. Davis would explain the Murray Scholarship funds and how they're managed.
yeah, I think we should.
Somewhat similar to where we talked about the municipal funds and the CD investments and the return. Some more detail on the other permanent, the permanent funds. And I guess we'll ask John to kind of think about, I know the audit report contains some information in terms of how those funds change over the years, but in terms of a little more detail of what sort of return we're getting from them. This, so I just mentioned, this is good. This is the first time we've, I think, had just a agenda item to talk about in terms of how the funds broken down, where they reside, who's managing which ones. So it sounds like we've got a couple of follow-up items.
And I think I recall that these are documented in the financial policy a bit, I think. I read, it took me a while to read through this.
Yeah, no, there's a section on, for fund balances.
Yes, there is, okay, that's
One section is capital, and the other section is undesignated fund.
Okay, and this would be going forward, I mean, we can work with this as we go forward, but this would be the format for the investment report every year around this time, telling us what's in which balances and how they're being invested or who's managing. And sounds like, along with the investment report, we'll talk about whether we just schedule an annual R.M. Davis, a Murray Scholarship Fund review with invite R.M. Davis to tell us about that. And then you'll gather some information, and we'll give an updated version of this with a little more detailed investment information on the permanent funds.
Yep.
Is there any other questions or suggestions? So, no, I think it's a good start, and it's in our policy, so. And we'll segue into the other couple of pages on this attachment, which are the
Quarterly
second,
report.
the quarterly finance report. So this is the second one of the year. You may or may not recall the first one. So we'll typically see one in October, one in January,
April.
one in April, and one in July, which would be a year-end summary.
So as far as our expenses, we're at 53.23% as far as municipal operations. So be close to where we should be.
Yep.
And keep in mind, some of the, some things that come out of our expense accounts are annual things that were already, like, that get paid out earlier in the year, so.
Sure.
Like the county tax.
Exactly.
100% of it's been paid already.
Yeah, exactly, so.
Are we able to check our historical records? In other words, the tax revenues are about where we would hope they would be at this point? Sounds like they are.
It's not a- Oh, revenue's right here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've, over half.
Mhm.
Still got
Yeah.
the spring
Okay.
bills.
One of the suggestions I think that had been raised was whether to help alleviate the burden of property taxes by allowing, relaxing the payment terms.
Quarterly payments?
Yeah. So allowing quarterly payments rather than just biannual. So maybe, again, put that on something to think about.
I think when I asked that question before, I was told you can pay your taxes quarterly if you want, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Or monthly?
I know some places where town employees actually, comes out of their, you can.
Well, the thing is 50% of it's due
Right.
on the first payment date. So if you only pay a quarter of it then, some of it would be late.
Is there interest?
Yes.
Is the town charging interest?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd have
So
to
we would-
set up a,
You have to set it up so that you
Yeah.
can pay quarterly.
yeah. So, of course you can play quarter if they want, because then they'll get the interest too, they love it.
Some people do pay quarterly,
Yeah.
less than the full amount due.
So I think that, you're right, I mean, that was something I think that was discussed as, would that help? So there's two pages. One is the expenses and the revenue and the departmental expenses, and then the other page is capital-related and other special expense items.
Where are we with the dangerous building removal? Do we have a date set for?
He's gonna let me know, we're all set, we've got code enforcement permits, I'm all set with DEP. And he said it would be within, this was last week when I talked to him, he said this week or next, so tomorrow's Friday, I would say probably next week. He's just gonna let me know a date so I can make sure that I notify the property owner and the sheriff's department.
Looks good.
John, the budget on the comprehensive plan is, that's a multi-year budget, right? Just to distinguish it from the annual budget on the first page.
We'll go to the first page.
No, I'm just saying, the first page is the annual,
Oh.
what we think of as the annual budget.
Our operating budget.
We go to the second page now, it's,
Accounts
not-
were created to pay using undesignated funds and capital reserve. So, yeah, so the comp plan will be beyond just this. Some of these will be
Beyond
beyond just this
this
year.
year, yeah. The county tax is, just to be sure everyone understands, we're in the third of 5 years of paying off the accounting adjustment that the county hit us with when they went from a calendar year to a fiscal year. Capital roads, it looks like we're pretty much done with all the paving, all the road work.
Yep.
Any questions for the board on page 2? I think maybe we'll talk a little bit later about educational options. Okay. And so on downtown revitalization, it's something we've talked about. We don't have any definitive plans at the moment.
No, it's not agenda item. So at the next, I came in too late to put it on for this agenda, but at the next agenda, I'm gonna have, I think there is info in your packets, I can find where it is, but I spoke with Maine DOT and about forming the village partnership initiative. So the first piece of it is that they would need to come in and do a study of some kind, which is it's a 50% match with Maine DOT. Once that is done, and we have the agreement in place, we'll be able to do various projects that would be a 50% match with Maine DOT, so. So that agreement that'll be on for next agenda, but I did put it in the packets. I'm trying to.
Okay.
It's the first one I'm select board.
Yeah. There's a memo with the estimate from DOT. So that's about it for an update as far as downtown revitalization
Okay.
goes, but since we do have that account, this would be a cost to the town of $46,700. It would then get us into that program.
Okay. And we can talk some more, you have it on the agenda, correct? You have it on the agenda to talk to, so. About formulating.
Downtown, select board items, yeah, I see.
But, so back to the quarterly report, these are the couple of three, the investment report and the quarterly financial constitute, in this case, 3 pages, which hopefully gives us all the information, financial information we need. I would just suggest to you, if you have any ideas or thoughts on format or content, let John know. I think
And if we like this, we're good? We can tell them that too?
you could tell them if you're satisfied, it has everything you need, then you can certainly tell them that too.
Okay.
But certainly, if any reasonable requests for additional information, we can talk about incorporating it if the board feels it's something that should be added. Okay?
Yep.
The next item was project updates, which you started to talk a little bit about earlier. So I think primarily the major culvert, plans for the major culverts.
So for culverts, bids for the project work are due on January 28th for Carsley Road and Eads Falls Road. And the next step with those would be, we may be getting some additional grant funding through LEA, which hopefully we'll know about within the next month. If not, then we would not be able to move forward on it until town meeting, when we can appropriate some funds to match the current grant funds that we already have. So, fingers crossed, we get some additional grant funding through LEA and be able to just move forward with the project and not have to wait till town meeting and not have to come up with any town funds. Lewis Road, Tomes Brook project, bids were received for the engineering work. There is grant money to cover the engineering work. So next steps with that would be to move forward with having the engineering work done and with LEA and our grant writer working on getting similar grant funding to what they got for Carsley Road and Eads Falls Road. That would be for construction year 27. Sand and salt shed, so we should be able to begin having the site work done for that. Along with that, I would say the next step would be to do a bid process for the building, pending funding through, for kind of like what we did, I guess, with the comp plan. Maybe we could do a bid process for what we want to use for a prefab structure, and then pending funding at the June 26 town meeting, we'll be able to pay for it. So, part of the planning process for engineering is I think they are going to kind of need to know the dimensions of what we are going with for a prefab sand and salt shed. Village revitalization. So, yeah, I just mentioned about the sidewalk, crosswalk, transportation-related work that could be done after we enter into agreement with MDOT. So that'll be on the agenda for the next meeting, so we can get that started. As far as Long Lake boat launch, I've checked with LEA and our grant writer. It doesn't sound like, and I also checked, I was thinking about applying using the community development block grant funds, but it wouldn't have passed. So we can try and build the Long Lake boat launch repairs into the CIP, so we can fit that in somewhere in our plan. Planning, so with the comprehensive plan, project will be getting underway this month. As far as next steps, ongoing support and involvement. School options, I know that Deb can give more detailed information on this, but my understanding is that the attorney was at the meeting to answer questions.
It was.
And at this point, the committee is planning a public hearing and determining the next steps.
Yep.
Right? Capital improvement in the process of being compiled right now, along with the budget process. So next step will be working through the budget process and including the capital improvement to be presented along with the budget. Capital improvement roads have been scanned using the new PCI program, and the next step is through working with the Public Works Director on his capital requests, on what his paving plan will be based on the PCI results.
Will we get a copy of those
Can I-
results? So that-
Sure.
Can you, just be interesting to see how bad our roads are.
Yeah, actually, I would say that will probably even be right in the capital,
Plan.
capital plan report.
Okay.
Public safety, so as far as the speeding, urban SDK software tomorrow, we've done the agreement and all that, and I'll be going over onboarding training tomorrow. Fire and EMS response, in contact, working on getting a course lined up for here. And as I mentioned, I spoke with Naples about maybe expanding coverage on that in town. Radar playground awaiting, we passed the pre-approval part, so I think I wrote this before I got that, so if approved, we have been approved through the pre-application, so I guess I need to get the application in on the 14th, so.
Did you need us to vote on that or something?
Yeah.
You mentioned it and we
I know,
skipped
and
over it.
it came in like right after, I think it was after we had the agenda set up and materials and everything. As you can see in the report, I didn't know yet, and found out that yes, we are eligible to proceed with the full application. It's due on the 14th, and that will be for replacement of the playground at Radar. Fire department, new truck being built.
Wait, 1 sec, John.
Yeah.
So he's gonna need a motion on that.
So are you looking for the board in that particular instance for an approval
Yes.
to accept,
Approve the application for the grant.
approve the application for the grant for the playground?
Yes.
So why don't we,
Is there a dollar number that we should say, or no?
I have that, it's just not with me. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
let me just suggest we do that next 2 weeks.
But it's due on the 14th. Are we ahead of
The
it?
application's due on the 14th, yeah.
There's
So-
a number in this,
It's 127,000, from 80 to 127,000, new playground equipment at Radar.
Oh, that's in the, yeah,
Yep,
capital.
Parks capital
Yep.
improvements.
That's the number that you'll apply for on the,
127, might be the high end.
I can't remember off the top of my head, I'd have to look at it.
Well, we're applying for the grant,
Right.
but will we be applying in for a specific amount or just up to, in other words, you don't know how much?
I have an estimate from the company, so, and design and all that.
So do you want the motion to be up to a certain dollar amount? If we don't have the specific dollar amount?
Yeah, okay, yeah, up to. I don't believe it's over 150,000, so.
Okay.
Okay.
So we need a motion to approve the application for the grant for an amount up to $150,000 for the playground equipment, replace the playground equipment at Radar.
so moved. Beat you.
Oh, sure, you take the easy part.
Yes.
Second?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? All in favor? 5-0.
Nope, all
Did you have another question, Mike, or no?
I'll ask John
Okay.
after.
Sorry, I interrupted the capital projects report.
Oh, that's right.
We just started the fire department.
That's right.
Yeah, the trucks ordered, we met with Androscoggin Bank a couple of weeks ago about the plan on finishing the funding with it through the bond anticipation note and the plan to $200,000 payments over the next 2 town meeting years. And what was the other thing, the fire department? The responder training, which I mentioned, is working on getting a course set up. And with enough people, hopefully maybe begin a scheduling shift system. So that could include some of the town employees that are interested in taking it.
Okay. Next item, Parks project needs.
So included in the packets is
Yep.
a list of needs for the various parks. This is from the Parks Director.
And is this going to be things that they're going to be requesting in their budget? Or is this going to be?
Over the next 5 years, yeah, spread out.
So this is sort of a sneak preview
Of
as
the
part of the
capital,
capital
yep.
improvement plan.
What is
But
the
we don't need
community
it.
garden? What is the community garden?
So, the community garden, and actually, I've got, there's interest from the Parks Director, and there's also interest from the Public Works Director on the possibility of having a community garden, which is, we set one up, I know that the last town I was at, we set one up. It's a, members of the community can have their own little parcel area, and share a garden, basically.
Where are we thinking we'd set this up?
I know the Public Works Director is talking about it up right by the Public Works facility.
Okay.
As far as parks, I'm not sure that he has a set location for where.
Have to be somewhere where there's water.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think there's anything set, other than the Public Works Director mentioning that they have a nice area, I guess, that would be good for a community garden, but, so,
More to come.
more to come with
Okay.
that, yeah.
Any other questions on the list of?
John, I did notice that in this too is playground mulch, which you need to replenish so often. But can we put that, do you think you could put that in with the bid for the grant for the playground equipment, since we will have to put it in anyways after we install the new playground equipment? See what I'm saying?
I'm looking for it.
Let me make sure I understand you. So, Mike, there's an item that says new border with 8 inches of playground mulch?
Yeah.
That radar?
Basically, every year you have to, for playgrounds, you have to replenish the playground mulch around them for safety zones. And once you install this new equipment, you're gonna have to put it in anyways. So I think it should, at least, if we get this grant, you should include that $4,000 in the grant, because it's part of the process of
Yeah, I
that.
think that's included in it.
Okay.
yeah.
But if we don't get the grant, we would still need to
We'll
address
still
the
have,
need for
we'll
mulch.
still have
It's a
to,
need.
it's a need.
It's a need. And that's the idea, I guess, behind the capital plan, is to start the
Every several
conversation about
years,
this.
it gets
the time
compacted down
to
and
apply
you
for
have to-
grants. This is probably more of a budget question for this year. Do we need to replenish, do we have a line item for replenishing the mulch at Crystal Lake Park?
It's in there somewhere.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, so this is a look at some of the work that's been going on regarding gathering the information for the capital plan that the town manager and the finance director will be mapping out over the next few years. in the most cost-efficient manner. So moving on to the next item, Lions Poker approval for January 17th.
That should read for the year.
We have the dates for the year?
It's once a month for the calendar year, 2026.
Okay.
That's what we have done for the last.
Historically, it has listed a whole list of dates.
Let me make sure I understand. So, one of the things we probably want to do is be sure that each year we address this for the year. We're giving approval of the use, confusing it, different request. This is a requirement that they have to do every year.
The state requires us to get a monthly license that's signed off on by the town. Now, we can come in once a month and annoy everybody. Or we can do it once a year, or technically we can do it once every 5 years.
Sure, okay.
Historically, for the last 15 years or so, we've been doing it once a year.
Okay.
Is there a form that you filled out already?
It's just a letter to the,
It's a letter, okay.
So does the letter have to specify the dates we're approving for the year?
It says once a month.
Okay.
As a general rule, we do it on the third Saturday of the month.
Okay.
But occasionally,
For
I
some,
think in March, we're going to have to change it to the fourth Saturday because there's a wedding there. And I don't think the wedding party wants to play poker. They might.
so, just so we're clear, so we've got two options here. One is to approve January, or as Matt is suggesting, we give them a approval for one event per month for 2026, the dates of which that they will notify the town manager of.
I think we should follow what we've done in the past, the approval of the year as a whole.
12, and you can even say 12, so they could, 12 a year. Why do you have to do it monthly?
As long as the letter's clear that you got it.
So they can have 12 events a year. I make a motion that the line, unless,
Go.
Nope, so we can entertain a motion, we've had enough discussion.
I make a motion that we let the Lions Club have 12 gambling events a year.
One per month,
It doesn't have to be one per month. It could
okay,
be
but 12 is
12 is
the number.
Is that adequate, Matt?
It will be once a month because the state has, if you have one in a month, it's $40. If you do two in a month, it's $100. And somebody in Augusta can't do math. So we do
Well-
it once a month.
Well, if you miss something or weather and you want to make up
Yeah.
one, so why don't we
So
just
the
say
motion is
12?
to
12,
approve
keep
12.
it at 12.
I second the motion.
All in favor? 5-0, the
Thank you.
12 events a year.
Just make sure we're invited.
On
I'm
our-
always on the board.
Your son is invited.
I know that.
So could we update our municipal calendar so that we show in January,
November.
November?
We should,
Third Sa-
Yeah.
so that he has it in time, the Lions have it in time to
Okay.
have their January.
So Kristen has suggested that we put it on for the November
Meeting.
timeframe. Okay? We're all set until next year. Next item, Tomes Brook Crossing engineering bid. Do you want to speak to that, John?
Sure.
so both Colin from LEA and Daryl have been involved with project. And their recommendation is to go with Dirigo. Some of it has to do with the fact that they've done the engineering for the other two brook crossings, so. That plus, they're kind of in the middle on pricing, so they're not, it's not lowest bid, but it's, the highest bid was $67,500 and they're at $39,000, so. But of course, this is coming from grant funding anyway, so.
And it looks like they're offering more for their buck too. I mean, they're including the borings, which are $10,000. They're giving the price for the MDOT ownership. I think we're gonna have to discuss that, right? If we're gonna award this tonight.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot more field surveying. The only thing they're not doing, that the others are doing, is a construction cost estimate, which we're gonna, but they are doing the inspections for us, so that at least they're doing 6 inspections for us, so that we know that the project's being done correctly without having to spend any more funds.
So it looks like the lowest bid was did not include a few things that the Rigo is included.
Yeah, they're designing up to 20 where, you know, there's quite a few differences that, in the 67.5, I mean,
That's crazy.
that's crazy, and they're not even including everything that's included, so.
So I think Colin did a nice job kind of summarizing the two bids for us, being able to distinguish the differences.
Very helpful.
Yeah, and experiences and services.
Just, we have been using Sebago Tech on other projects, correct? I mean, when Brad was here, he brought them on board, correct?
Yep.
Can, after just looking at this one bid, can we revisit having them as a,
Well, we don't have any commitment to use them.
okay, but I just think instead of,
Right.
I mean, it just looks like
No, so
we should
just
be
to
looking
clear,
at, we should be looking into Dorigo there and saying, how would you like to be our, you know,
So I think
something.
the agreement, but you can check with Mari on that. The agreement was simply that Sebago would give us a fixed price for a few years, in other words, they would hold their
Yeah,
price.
it's not a binding contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we look into Dorigo too and see if they could give us something like that too? I mean, just,
Questions on the material and the recommendation for awarding the Tonesbrook Crossing engineering bid?
yeah, I'd like to discuss the $8,000 that, because if we're awarding the bid, don't you think we should be discussing, because none of the others are discussing this either. All of them are saying at an extra cost. Do we want to design this so MDOT takes it over after it's done? I think we should.
The cost of the project would be more. That's the one thing we're cautioned about, is that, yes, you could build it to the MDOT standards and then, you know, have them take it, but then it's not going to be redone for like another, 80 years or something like that, so. So do you want to spend the more money now and?
But do you, I mean, in the past, we've looked at what's happened when we get these storms that are, these runoffs. We've had them, at least one in the last couple of years, if not more, that have damaged some of our culverts. I mean, I think we should look at the option of having both.
You mean having it?
So that, so that we have at least an idea if it's gonna cost us $200,000 more, $300,000? What's the difference between, and then having MDOT take it over afterwards?
Well, they said 8.
8 to
At least-
design it.
Ooh.
So it'll cost,
Ooh.
so the
Okay.
point was, right, eventually, so the cost, the construction and implementation of it will cost more, but we won't be responsible for any future maintenance of it.
Do
Maintenance or, yeah.
But do these
there.
companies that are going, like Derigo, do they have any type of warranty?
No, because this is just a design. This is just a design.
Oh, this is for the
And then it
design.
goes, then there'll be a bid process for the construction
Construction.
company.
Oh, okay.
And then the construction
Do the
company
work.
usually is a 1-year.
Okay, got it.
Is this, the Tomesburg crossing is just currently a couple culverts on Lewis Road? Correct. No bridge? Would the DOT take ownership of something like that on a town road?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I believe so. If it's built,
If
if it's
it's a-
built to those specifications.
It's built to that specifications. So that's what I'm saying.
I mean, the assumption is that, I don't know if that's in here.
I mean, at
And
least,
this'll be
I would
a
at least
block.
like to have someone explain to us, what do they think the estimated cost difference would be to build it according to MDOT standards and, or just regular standards. I'd like to know what the difference is, because if we could get it off our
So-
schedule of things that we have to be worried about for.
So we have a couple of approaches. We could say we look for more information on that to determine whether we want to approve it with or without the MDOT design costs, or
Yeah.
we could,
I mean, we have a
we
meeting.
could award the bid to them.
Yeah, but by awarding the bid to them, you're not committing to, that's an option in the, that
All right,
option
so I
is
think the
there,
only
so-
question for tonight, my sense would be that we want to follow the recommendations,
Yes.
award the bid to them. We're just trying to decide whether we're awarding the bid to include or not include
The
the
MDOT.
$8,000.
What I can do is I can find out what the cost difference is for the DOT specifications.
Yep.
I know that you're looking at right around $450,000, $475,000 per culvert right now, and that doesn't include the additional specs for.
So,
But on all of these, we're getting grant money we're getting grant money to,
Hopefully. So
Hopefully.
the two that we will be doing construction on this coming year, 26, summer, construction year 26. We're waiting to hear on some remaining funding that may make it so that we won't have to invest any town funds in Carlsley or Eads Falls.
now are
If
those,
we don't get those, we're looking at needing to match those grants by about somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 at town meeting.
so my question is were those 2 culverts that we're gonna be replacing this year, were they done to MDOT standards? So that if
They haven't
it's,
been done yet.
no, but has the design,
I don't believe, I'm not sure that the engineering work was done to include that. I can find out, I can check with Derigo.
because if we're getting grant money and we're possibly getting grant money to fix them, and it's not costing the town anything, wouldn't we want to try to get them done to MDOT standards, so it's not costing us anything now or in the future?
Yeah, I can find out.
if all of that was true.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right, so right now, I think we're saying it's a little uncertain, so I think the sense is that we want the option, but we don't want to commit to for purposes of this, I think, one of the questions is, would we want to approve the bid award?
We can approve the bid, but I would just,
Right, but we could approve it with an amount up to $47,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to include in the possible $8,000
And then
additional.
we could
Yeah.
put another agenda item on to decide
in 2
with
weeks,
conversation with
hopefully in
them.
2 weeks, they could give us some information to,
There is a little bit in what they gave us, on page 5 of the retro, it does say, called out a little bit there. important to note that Maine DOT may take over ownership and maintenance of curb spans greater than 20 foot if designed and constructed to their standards, and it talks about construction costs for a bridge meeting Maine DOT specifications can be nearly double the cost of a precast department with
And
engineering.
I think to Mike's point, if we weren't paying for it, it might be a good
Yeah.
deal, but if
Right,
we are.
right.
We are, but I mean, if
So-
they will, that's what I'm saying.
I would just suggest maybe, if, whatever the board would like to do, but if we can award the bid with an amount up, to include the 8,000, so an amount up to 47,000, with the understanding that we'll revisit the issue of whether we'll include that design or not. Is that,
Yep.
would that satisfy tonight's agenda item? So,
Need a motion?
I think ready for a motion.
I will like to make a motion to approve the design contract for Thomas Brook Crossing to Durango for the amount not to exceed $47,000.
Motion's been made, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, no further questions? All in favor? So, John, you're clear then on how we want to proceed? Yep. Good. Thank you. Next item is the business registration policy. And this is kind of the first time we're discussing.
Yes, first pass through it.
It's pretty comprehensive.
It is, but a lot of that is just because I included the, all the state statutes for the different businesses. And like Deb gave some feedback on, maybe we could make this a little more concise by, just maybe providing a list of the businesses with the statute that has to register with the state and go through a process rather than have each of them.
Yeah, I didn't know if we had to duplicate what the state said in our town policy or not, and John, pretty much we did it for our convenience, so we have it right here, which I understand that, but is it too much is the question.
Yep.
I was wondering, the section about BYOB functions, is that private functions, or is it facilities, businesses that host BYOB functions?
It's commercial, not private.
It doesn't specify in here at all, it just says a person. It doesn't say a business or
Yeah.
anything, so.
I think that would be like, for example,
The community center.
community center. If they're looking to do an event there where alcohol is being brought in.
I just think it needs to be more specific, because it doesn't specify anything regarding an individual or a function hall, it just says a person.
Yeah, because I know when I came before to Brad to apply for the Music Hill permit, he said I didn't need a permit, I didn't need anything because it was under 500 people, and even though it was BYOB, it was on private property, so I did not need anything.
That seems appropriate, it just said.
It's not in
This
here.
may make you believe it's something different.
I did it, if you recall, but it was a function held at the
Community center.
community center,
Yeah,
so
'cause
maybe,
Same with the snowmobile club. When we
Yeah.
have events there and they're BYOB, we have to get a state permit
Mm-hmm.
and a permit from the town.
so you're saying, Nate, that we need,
I know this whole policy is regarding business registration. It's just that section seems confusing, may lead people to misinterpret what it really means.
So should it say a business may not hold a
that might
BYOB
make
function?
sense. Yep,
So, what is the community hall of business? I mean, specific, what's the definition
Well,
of
it's
business?
public,
Well,
it's,
Yeah, I mean,
there's venues out there where, I can think of one over in North Yarmouth, but I don't know if they're still in business.
Harmony Hall.
Harmony Hall, yeah. And that's what, they were, they provided the entertainment, but you brought, that would be an example of a type of place that would fall under.
right, that, yes, I would agree.
And that, we have an event policy. What did you say, Mike, 500?
500.
Mass gathering policy.
Mass gathering policy.
Okay, so it just uses the terminology of event to distinguish, as one way of distinguishing it from, say, a private party. I don't know whether that's the criteria we're talking about or not. In other words, if it's a BYOB event.
I mean, there's just other things in here that seem, that don't apply to Harrison. Like all the state ordinance stuff.
Yeah, I pasted all of the state. Again, that, we don't have to have that in our policy, but there probably should be maybe a list of at least, so that if someone's looking to come and register a business, they need to be aware that there's a process with the state. And some of them include, like, with the junkyard, the vehicle junkyards, that there's different processes for some of these different ones, and some of it requires a public hearing, some of it requires, there's, so there are some specifics, but I guess that could be addressed on a case-by-case basis, and as long as we list maybe at least provide a list in the policy that, these are the businesses that you'll have to do further registering with the state type of thing.
So let me just, if we step back for a second, there's section 1, which is kind of the overview and the terminology. And section 2, which is the registration process. And that's only about 3 pages. And then section 3 is the list of all of the possible annual license.
Yes.
And it seems like that's the area of contention, probably, that we should include in that.
The first line of this policy states that all businesses in Harrison operating as a sole proprietor, in accordance with the state law, must register with the town. How do we enforce that? Anybody who operates a sole proprietor business?
You can't, but if you go, basically, when I moved up here, when I went to try to open up a bank account up here for my business, I needed my license from the town before I could get that's a state law, so the banks won't open up won't give you even a DBA account without a license from the town.
Which is one of the comments in here about.
Yep. So that's the only way you're gonna enforce it.
So section 3 could be annual, is it better titled state annual licensing requirements, and then,
Yeah,
like
actually,
you're saying,
that probably
you-
would be,
you
because
can
that's
just-
specifying that the state one's required.
and just list them with their statute numbers. I think it's good for people to be able to have one place to see it all.
So, for example, just have a short list with a reference to the
Yes,
statute.
you can.
Yep. That's just the and sort of our focus really would be on section 1 and 2. See if we're in agreement with what's being said there. Not get too bogged down on the list.
Okay, so this front page is like the plan for the policy, because not
It's like a table
everything,
of contents.
not everything in this draft has what's on this front page, right? Because one thing I do like is that it says purpose of business registration, and I don't think that's Well, I guess it's clear because it says it's state law, so I guess that is the purpose. Is that the only purpose? I'm just curious, does anybody know?
For registering a business?
Yeah.
I mean, it's helpful for the Harrison Business Alliance, it's helpful for us, I mean, code enforcement, because if somebody comes in and wants to register a business, many of them, or not many, but there are certain businesses that would trigger, the need for code enforcement, permitting, planning board review,
Yep,
so
yep.
there's, so depending upon what it is, will depend on, so that's why, there could be needs, reasons why we at the local level would need to be involved if somebody's starting a business, so. And we want to track and support businesses here too, so.
Is that important to maybe put somehow in the overview? Because it is kind of trying, I like that what you're saying, we're trying to partner with them.
Yeah.
Where in accordance with state law, it just sounds like, oh, it's just a law.
You're right, yeah, and, now we're listing them on the website,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so.
To be more collaborative, I don't know,
Exactly.
those kind of words.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Just a thought.
The one thing I don't see in here under 3.9 food, and 3.8 even eating and stuff, there's nothing for food trucks.
There is a food
Yeah,
truck
their own
one.
section.
There is one.
Lunch-
Lunch
Yeah.
wagons,
Oh,
yes,
lunch
that's
wagon.
right.
Okay, I'm
Come on,
sorry.
Mike. Didn't
Where do you read it? Further down?
It's number. I did see it too. Where is it called? It's called Lunch Wagons 3.13.
So are these lunch wagons, food trucks that are licensed by the state that are mobile and move on a regular basis, are they required to be licensed when they operate in the town of Harrison? Or are you just talking about?
No, I was just,
A fixed
yeah.
truck that may,
A fixed truck that may be in the town, that, because I know it might fall under code enforcement, but I know that one tried in town, and I know there's some issues with, if they're stationary, they also need to be able to dump their refuse somewhere that's sanitary, so we need to know if they're gonna just set up in town somewhere, to make sure that they're not just dumping their waste,
Well, and where they're gonna set up.
and where they're gonna set up and everything, is it, so.
I know food trucks come to Harrison.
I mean, I have them at my
Throughout the
house,
year.
but there is no, I've had them for all the events up there, but there is no requirement, and I think we should, I don't know where they. I don't know, but that's something maybe for the fee schedule, or,
Well, I think separately is just sort of the health, safety, and municipal services issue of,
A food trucks are licensed by the state to operate. I don't understand why the town would require any more permitting for them to operate in our town.
That's up to the town, some towns do, through an ordinance process, but.
so they would either have to set up on private property.
what if one sets up on Crystal Lake Park? Do we have a policy for that?
Well, that gets into our municipal,
But they're
Usage.
a registered vehicle.
right. They're a
So- You're getting into,
With the
so I
state
think,
license to sell food.
but they have that with the state, so we're saying to them that, why do they need, they're only parking in a parking spot, so, you see what I'm saying? I think we should have something, because what if they are on our public property and they're selling food and, I mean, should that be a fee requirement, not anything in this, but a fee requirement? For them to set up at Crystal Lake Park or Long Lake in one of the,
I don't see how that would benefit the town. If a licensed food truck comes to the town office parking lot and sells food, we're gonna require them to register and pay a fee, and what are we gonna do? Are we gonna just see that they have a valid state license? Are we gonna?
don't you think we should?
So just, by way of example, if a truck pulls up, parks in the parking lot out here, is there some requirement? town knows about that.
We can do it all the time with the ice cream truck.
The ice cream truck goes to Crystal Lake Park all summer long.
But they're not set there all day. They're there for 15 minutes and then they go to another
We have a
spot.
time limit of how long it can sit.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just asking, you know, questions.
You know,
Are they licensed?
I,
Well, obviously, we're not gonna solve this tonight.
The details of it is probably coming out of here anyway, and then I'm just gonna, we're gonna have a list of just, these are the businesses that need to
Yep.
reference that state statute, and, you know, they'll get information in their process, so.
So, let me just go back and get a sense from the board. So, first, can we agree we need some sort of a business registration policy?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like there's sort of is one that's there anyway, so why not write it down? Right? There's kind of one.
We're doing it, it's just
Yes.
not, we're just not, it's not a town hall.
So
Right.
somehow we just want to get that encoded into a policy.
Yep.
So far, so good. So there's the first couple of sections about why we're doing it. We want to make sure it's clear why we're doing it. It sounds like the biggest issue is struggling with defining who it should apply to. And
It
there's-
applies to all businesses, but then there's the last section here that can list the ones that need to know that they've got a licensing process they need to go through.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
requires further steps.
Okay. Are we saying in some cases we'll list licensing requirements that are state requirements, but not town requirements? Is that what you're saying?
He currently has a section that's really the annual state licensing
Correct.
requirements.
So I can just boil that down into a list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although, you know, one thing I think that might be helpful in your list
What?
that I like is that not only did you include statutes, but you include who the licensing authority, when the fees, and the license expiration. Like maybe those short few things
Okay.
should be in here, and then all the details they can look up. But I know I would appreciate having a policy knowing which ones we may hear about. You know what I'm saying?
Some of them is free though, it needs the select board's approval.
Right, that's why I'm saying it'd be good to have that show in the policy,
Whether or
yes,
not-
right?
Yeah.
Who the licensing authority is,
Yeah.
most all of them say so.
I know, aren't we lucky?
And if we do issue licenses, just
Yep.
like we did tonight.
Yep.
And we do for all the businesses that sell liquor and have housing and, you know,
So-
the inns, and we do that already.
So I think, John, as you're saying, we're sort of doing this, but we just don't have a coherent, concise policy.
Yeah, and like some of them require public hearings, some of them don't, so maybe I
Yeah.
can, in that small little section, also include public, you know, public hearing needed, so that
Yeah.
some of it's for us to know that, that, oh, we're gonna do a public hearing on this one,
Right.
not the other one.
Yeah. That way it's easy for the clerks too, you know, so they can look it up and say, okay, this one, oh,
Yeah, we need to schedule a public hearing.
Public hearing.
This requires public notice.
yep.
I'd like to, oh, I just,
The other
You
thing
could
there,
put- oh.
Harrison didn't opt in for the cannabis, so we can't have any stores here, medical or retail. So, don't worry about that.
Okay, so I can cross that one off the list, all right.
John, you could put right even at the beginning something like, for details of licensing standards and procedure, please see the statute, but then, you know, so you don't have to put all this.
All the
verbiage.
additional information.
Yeah, but it really does help for those few blurbs, I think.
I would like to see if we've talked enough about it for tonight.
Yes.
Given John enough direction.
We don't need to move on it though, because it's not,
No.
okay, it's a draft, good.
Do you think you have enough input from us, John, for the moment?
Thank you for working on it, I like it.
Okay, moving on, the next item is the Realtor bids.
So, final, last piece that we need to do in order to be able to move forward with disposal of tax-acquired property is we need an agreement with a Realtor. We received 2 bids. And McAllister is here, so you guys
Yeah.
would like to...
Oh, good.
We thought we'd come and introduce ourselves and see if you have any questions.
Well, thanks for sitting through all the rest.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish we knew, we would have moved this up.
For the future, maybe that's one of the things we'll try and do.
I have that listed right on my dry erase board. Make sure that if
We
there's
would've-
topics. that
Adjust the
involve somebody
agenda.
that- yeah.
Paul, we would have moved this up so you didn't have to stay through all of it.
No, I don't, I'm gonna see it.
So-
Okay.
So, John, you were saying we have 2 bids. Listings Direct Real Estate, and, am I reading this right? Christopher A. Bonnet? Those are the 2? No.
Listings Direct.
He is, okay.
Oh, and then where's the other one?
It's right in the front.
Is there a second one?
The second bid,
Who's the second bidder?
Right, listing direct,
yeah, that's the first one, the packet.
and then the second one is
McAllister.
McAllister.
And McAllister has experience with City of Augusta, Gardner, Town of Baskerville, with tax-acquired properties, so.
Oh, it was after the bid.
Or after the
Yeah. Apologize. And, you have a recommendation, John?
Well, you guys want to give us any info about, since you're here, about your experience with tax-acquired, the new tax-acquired
So
property?
if you want to just.
Would you like me to get up and?
Yeah, just for purposes of the listening audience.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie McAllister. This is Kim Gleason. I also want to apologize for any coughing or anything that I have done through this experience. I'm recovering from a cold, but wanted to be here.
Well, just to give you a little knowledge about McAllister Real Estate, I've been selling real estate for 35 years, and I opened McAllister Real Estate 25 years ago. And I've worked with the Department of Transportation, selling tax-acquired properties back along, and surplus properties. So I've had a lot of experience in that. We also competed for the bid in the City of Augusta, and there were 10 bidders against us that we competed against, and we did win the bid for the City of Augusta. And we also won the bid for the City of Gardner. So we've been working on those properties. And it's a very interesting way of doing real estate. It's not really like, everybody wants to see you. I mean, in my line of work, usually when you knock on the door, they're happy that we're there, right? But that's not true to the case. I mean, some of the properties that we have are party in possession. Those are tough, really tough. And some of the other tough stuff is dealing with the public, the general public, because they feel like they should get the property for nothing.
Oh.
And we really have to, they'll say, oh, the town owns it, so what's the big deal? Well,
Or back taxes.
or back taxes. They think they should, get it for back taxes. Well, no. And we do the whole process, the whole CMA process, and we have an obligation to tell you what the property is worth at a market value, with taking into consideration that they're not gonna get clear title. So that's part of the problem. They're not gonna get title insurance. So there is a bit of a learning curve that goes along with this. So we spend a lot of time educating the public and also other brokers through our experience. Am I talking too much? Would you like to talk?
Right. We are very well versed in the new legislation that is surrounding why you need to hire a realtor to begin with. We have had countless lessons. We have our, well, we've really worked with everyone. And then outside of the cities of Augusta and Gardner, we do work with the town of Vassalboro, who is a similar select board as yourself. So we have the city municipalities, but also the towns that understand how those different governing structures work. Happy to answer any questions.
Yes.
So, when you talk about the way the process would work these days, the town's allowed to recover taxes that are due, unpaid taxes. Are we also allowed to recover the fee?
Yes.
Are those the two portions that the town would see? Cover our expenses for selling the property?
That's right, and then it's liquidated back to the rightful owner. And there's a time limit, I believe it's 30 days that you have to hold the money to try to find the rightful owner or the previous, and sometimes they're just gone, you know, or does it go to the estate, or does it go back to, you know, the state for unclaimed property? You know, so there is a very specific process, and we've worked with several attorneys. We've got a couple on board that we kind of can go to and ask questions, which is kind of nice, so we get it right. But it's a different way of selling real estate.
I have a question. So, the state sets the rate, so, you know, your commission rate, 500, 2,500, 3.5%, but on the ones that are 500, so, and basically, and then there's another 2% on top of that for this.
That's for like the buyer agent.
Buyer agent.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the state didn't set those, that was just our proposal.
Oh, okay.
So there is no state standard or anything like that. That was just the proposal, and it mirror images the proposals that we've done with the other cities.
And are you both from Hallowell?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Harrison's not too far out of the way.
No, I have to tell you, I've sold property all over the
Auburn.
state, from Aroostook County to York County,
Okay.
especially with the DOT. I've
You have a
done
nice
lot of
vehicle you like to ride around in?
It likes gas too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the 3.5% for the 75,000, if I hired you for a regular property, would it be 3.5 to the state? So it's 3.5 for the,
Yeah, we use the same
Same
format that we
format
do,
for-
just a regular.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Similar
transaction.
standards, but obviously anything in real estate is always negotiable.
And it sounds like you cover all other marketing expenses.
Yes, there's no other expense to.
Take care of all photographs, drone photos if it's appropriate, any sort of technology. I'm a marketing master's and kind of my thing.
So this is maybe a question for John. So we have a list of property that we could decide to sell. Do we need to determine if there's any use of that before we? Okay, so that's a step in the process before it's turned over to.
Yep.
the realtor.
Yeah, you, as the select board, you can determine if there's town benefit to, like, for example, of land that you might
Be able to use for something
obtain, but
productive.
opposed to
Okay. Okay.
land with a structure on it that,
So that's one more step that would be up to the board to then direct you which pieces to place with the realtor. Okay.
I can give you that list again as well, if you want me to put that on. for
Yeah, I don't know that
next-
we've thought about that as of yet, but I guess we probably should.
Next
Sure.
meeting.
I mean, that we don't have any uses for that, whatever those properties are. Like you said, I don't know if some of it's land, for example. We probably should just have it as an agenda item, just to be sure.
Yep.
And let the public see if they have any comments or suggestions before we turn it over.
Do you have a minimum number of properties? Like, No, okay.
No, we ended up with, well, we started out with like 50 in Augusta.
Yeah.
And then it got kind of wheedled down because once we actually ended up sending the folks letters. And it, you know, the city had sent them letters and, you know, over and over and said, you pay your taxes, you're gonna lose your property. Part of your possession, you're gonna lose your property, you're gonna lose your property. Well, they just ignored it. So then they ended up getting a letter from us and we said, hey, we'll be over, we're gonna put a sign on your property, we're gonna list your
We're not
property.
involved.
So, how many of those?
8 out of 9 paid their taxes.
8 out of 9 pay their taxes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't always, you
Yep,
know. And there's, of course, Gardner had probably 8 or 10, and then Bassboro had 2 or 3. But,
Interesting.
yeah, it's interesting.
Any more questions?
Did want to mention that the other proposal from the Listings Direct, that just has a flat fee of 3% for all properties listed with no variation based on value.
You might also notice a difference between the two proposals. The first one is a little less experience. So,
Well, these ladies present themselves as having exactly the experience required to sell these properties, so.
Not to mention they sat through the rest of our meeting.
Well, we have to know the town, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have any more questions for them?
No, I don't.
Are we ready for a motion?
Well, you're welcome. We're available like all the time, so you can always call us.
Wow.
You know.
So, I think we're ready to entertain a motion to award the Realtor bid,
For tax acquired property?
tax acquired property to Listings Direct?
No.
No.
To McAllister and
McAllister.
Gleason.
McAllister Real Estate.
I would like to make a motion that we award the bid for tax acquired, the Realtor bid for tax acquired property to McAllister Real Estate.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to award the bid. Any other questions, discussion? No? All in favor?
Thank you.
5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you for being patient with us.
I don't know if congratulations is in
Congratulations or
Let's
condolences?
hope so.
Yeah, hopefully it's a simple process.
Well, I thank you, and
if the town-
we will head back.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you
thank
got
you,
an
thank you.
hour, over an hour drive.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
everyone.
Next item is other business. Don't have any, I don't see anything under other business specifically. If not, we'll move to select board items. The first item is the Harrison Educational Option.
Oh, my presentation is like an hour long. I know, I'm kidding.
Next
I'm
meeting.
kidding, I'm kidding. Okay. So our committee met Monday. We were glad to have Dan Stockford from Brand and Isaac, the law firm, attend the meeting with us. He actually supplied the Zoom, which was great. Kim was there. We had Amy Gary there. We had Wendy and Dale and Andrea. We had a very good meeting. First item on our agenda that we really wanted to talk with Dan about is should we start the withdrawal process? He recommended that we do. So part of the withdrawal process would be this public forum that we're still planning to hold on Friday, January 30th. At the United Parish Church, as we mentioned before, we have a plan to have an area where we would have the meeting and an area where we could keep kids off to the side, feed them pizza so that families could come, because our concern is we really do want the families there. Families with kids in school, families that will have children in school. We do have the presentation just about done. I've talked with John about meeting with him and Maureen next week because Amy and I gathered a ton of numbers and we really just don't know the best way to try to give it to the town. because several of the committee members have talked to their constituents in their neighborhoods, and it would be important to try to show what the cost difference would be between the options, so that's what we're gonna try to do without, we can't get into too much detail because we don't know for sure, but we might be able to give them a ballpark, right? So we'll work with you next week. In the 21 or 22-step process, I read through it again. It's pretty clear what the petition should say, and Dan offered to word it for us, and we could have it at the January 30th meeting. I just didn't know a couple things. Number one, does the town clerk need to do anything with it? And number two, do we have to see it and approve it? Because if so, I could have it for our next meeting. I don't know those steps as far as how we need to be involved.
So I think the board should approve the public hearing, because it's the board committee, initiated committee.
Yep.
So we should just approve the date, which I guess we could do at the next meeting,
Yeah.
unless somebody has some objection.
When are you thinking of having it?
Friday, January 30th, 5:30 PM at United Parish. And actually, I kind of wouldn't mind if we could approve it tonight, because I want to call the video company and book them if possible.
We'll see what the sense of the board is.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
Just by way of explanation, the public hearing would be to explain what the committee has, the results of the committee's research,
Yes.
which is if there are some practical options. And then it will cover what comes next.
That's correct.
So the committee will continue in existence throughout the first half of this year, or until there's some formal point when we agree it's no longer needed or the status changes.
That's right, because if the rest of the board isn't aware, part of the process is if the petition gets the amount of signatures we need, the next thing we would need to do is a special town meeting, and it has to be written ballot.
Yep.
I know, and all the voters need to vote, and at that point, a formal withdrawal committee needs to be formed.
It needs to be a certain percentage of those that voted for the last
That's
governor's
that's for the
elections.
petition signatures.
Oh, it's the petition
Yes.
signature, okay.
At the special ballot, it's just majority,
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the petition, it's gonna be like 20% or 25%?
10, just 10.
That's it? It's just
Yeah.
10%?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. So yes, the committee would kind of, our group that's gathering the information, it would transition to a formal withdrawal committee. And then what Phil and I were talking about is monetary-wise, we're hoping that that 20,000 that we have budgeted will carry us through at least to the town meeting. And at that point, we should have more information, well, sooner, we hope,
For the budget.
for the budgeting process about if we need more money than that. Yes, sir?
Does the withdrawal process start before it's approved by the town voters?
From what I read, what we would be voting for at first is really to start the process for understanding if it is in the best interest of the town to withdraw, and start getting, like, we need legal advice, we need a consultant's advice for which option really works for us. And so at this point, we're not sure without all the details, and our committee doesn't have the resources to get that information. So we're really just saying, Dan indicates mostly, we're putting the district on notice that we're serious. So it does help us not to get pulled into, other votes the district might be putting out that we don't want to get,
Financial
I hate to say
obligations.
stuck with, yes, obligated,
Like the
yes.
purchase of the
So SE
bus
voters.
garage
Yes.
and things like that. So that's why he's saying right now that
Yes.
to do this legally, so that if they decide to do something, we have something.
He's hoping so. It depends on the timing of the district's votes and our votes, actually.
Gotcha.
But it does help,
It helps so that.
yeah.
How could we consider a withdrawal from the district if we don't know what our other options are?
That's what the public forum is to talk about, what they are.
with costs associated.
Exactly. That's what we're gonna try to do the best we can with that. Yeah.
So let me just maybe ask it a different way. So the public hearing will kind of present the options. There's a period of time, so that's the end of January, and then there's potentially there's the petition to schedule a vote. So there's a period of time, probably 8 or 10 weeks, month of February and March, say perhaps, and then the vote would occur in March or April timeframe. And so the question is, between the public hearing in January, and if there's enough sense to want to go forward from the public, and that the petition is signed by a sufficient number of people to create the warrant article, some further information can be gathered between that time frame. So by the time the vote has to be made, there will be more information that may be available at the end of January.
Yeah, and so what we're trying to, I know what you're saying, so what I would like to see, and fingers crossed we can do it, is the lawyer help us with perhaps hiring also an educational consultant, which is what Sebago did, to get more data and real numbers, so that by that special town, we could word the article to say what we really want to happen. We want to withdraw and join Lake Region. We want to withdraw and be our own school. That would be the ideal thing. So that's right. I'm hoping that $20,000 can cover some consultant costs so that we could be more definitive of what we want the voters to vote for at that special election, I think.
And the vote is really to create a committee.
Yep. To work out the details of the withdrawal.
Right. And in some cases, that committee has decided withdrawal is not the best thing.
Sometimes.
Because it involves negotiations, and that's where kind of the final numbers
Yep.
all come out of.
That's right.
So who authorizes initiating the withdrawal process? A
Which
vote?
part of it?
You said the recommendation of the legal counsel was to initiate the process. Who authorizes the town of Harrison to initiate the
That's why I'm
process?
bringing it here.
Is it the select board or is it a vote of the public?
Go to the public.
Vote of the public.
All right, so
Oh,
It's two separate.
but we have to start a petition to say there's enough interest in the vote.
So you have a petition, and
Yes.
then a public hearing,
Yes,
and then a town vote
yes.
before the withdrawal process is
Yeah,
officially
and if they
started.
say no, we're done. Yeah,
And then 6 or 8 months or some period of time later, there's another town vote on whether to actually do the withdrawal or not.
that's right.
If the initial withdrawal was approved.
Yep.
Then we would
Right.
negotiate the
The vote.
withdrawal and have an additional vote.
Yeah, if the initial vote to create a withdrawal committee is approved, and then there's a 6-month process, and one option is they come back at the end with a negotiated agreement with the district, and the town votes on whether to accept it. The town could vote not to accept an
Yes.
agreement.
Might be longer than 6 months.
It might be longer than 6
Yeah.
months. And the only deadline on any of that, there's a requirement that the town have made a decision by the November
Yeah,
preceding the year that when it would actually take effect.
that's right.
So it's
And our goal is that we will have somewhat of a timeline of what we think is going to happen at this first public forum. And if we decide we need another one, we'll do another one.
so sounds like there might be a good basis for an article for the newsletter to kind of explain some of this.
And the newspapers.
And the newspaper.
I'm sure Wayne's got it all written down. Yes, we would, I will help formulate something for the newsletter, as long as you guys are okay with the January 30th date, which I think is what we have to decide. You all, I shouldn't say you guys, you all.
Any questions from?
So the presentation on the 30th is the information you currently have.
Yes.
Which may not have a lot of details. financially.
We'll provide as much as we can to give a good overview of what we think our options are. How's that?
Yeah, and I guess the idea would be to solicit from the public what information they'd like to have when they actually, if this were to proceed to a
Yes,
vote.
we hope
That
to
would be
hear from
good
them.
feedback from
Yes.
that, out of that meeting would be.
And
also-
Dan, the lawyer, also said he would be there because he was the one for the Sebago withdrawal, and he'll answer questions.
And just to be clear, at this point, there still has been no final decision on a elementary
has
school
not.
site.
Nope.
So, we're sort of proceeding in order to be prepared, but without having had the decision. I think that originally was supposed to be done months ago, but
December.
has run into other issues, I guess. So,
I have a question. Why are we in Oxford County's school anyways, district anyways? I mean,
What time is
I
it?
joined the district in 1967, I believe. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
Bridgeton didn't want us.
Oh,
Bridgeton didn't want us.
I know that, if I recall correctly.
Do you, sorry, sir, do you have some information you'd like to contribute, or?
Well, my understanding is that when SAD 61 was being formed, it was like a year later.
oh,
And Harrison basically said, well, let's just go with 17. There were people here that wanted to wait
Yeah.
to go with 61, but ultimately, they went 17 instead. And to your point about why you're in an Oxford County school district, the bigger point would have been, had you gone with 61, you would have all been the same. Because you
Yeah.
all occupy the same lake.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
pumps everybody's valuation up, so you would have been on equal footing.
Equal footing, that's what I was getting, that was what I was getting
Versus
at.
being the second
Yeah.
highest payer in 17.
That's okay, I didn't mean to elicit an editorial comment.
Yes, I had to go.
Thank you for the background history.
I had to go with it.
Thank you.
One last question. If I remember correctly, we initiated this whole committee because of the potential of Harrison Elementary School being closed and consolidated. I think it's very important that if we look at potentially moving to Lake Region, do we expect Lake Region to continue to operate our school in Harrison, or would Lake Region also close our school and move our students into their existing buildings?
so that's part of the negotiation process if we decide to work with them. But at the moment, they explained to us that they're not sure they have room for our elementary school kids, so we would keep our school. But not to say that would change. It's true.
Do we think the school district will allow us to keep that school?
MSAD 61?
No, would 17 allow us
To
to
keep the,
own our?
Oh,
Harrison
17?
Elementary School?
yeah.
Probably. I mean, if we stay with them and get consolidated, you're asking if we can keep the building?
Yeah.
Are you asking if we withdraw, can we keep the building?
Right, would they have a concern about us?
No, I think
Oh,
it's
it's all
in
in
the,
the negotiation.
Okay.
but I also thought that, like they did over in Waterford, well, they're doing it right now because
Correct.
the new
Waterford's
school, but
the-
once they go for the new school, aren't they giving that, not giving it, but whatever mortgage is left on it, town of Waterford could, I think that would be the same thing here, correct?
Possibly.
So,
We would have to purchase it based on debt and market value.
yeah, Sebago got to keep their school and they paid $1.
So I
It's
think
all
part of the
negotiable.
reason for paying people to be able to do this is they understand how much of all of the district buildings Harrison owns by their contribution over the years. And then how do you negotiate, for example? Do we keep our building and in lieu of everything we've contributed to?
Maintained 8 towns' buildings over
Yeah.
the past 30 years.
So, good.
Great community.
Okay, should we vote on the date?
So I think the question was, having gotten our summary of where things are and what's to come, does someone want to make a motion to approve a date for the Harrison Educational Options Committee public hearing for January 30th at the Congregational Church?
At the it's called
United
United Parish, yeah.
So moved.
Second.
So there's been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Can I vote?
You can, you don't have a financial interest.
Don't have a
I don't,
financial
okay,
interest.
yeah, good. Thank you very much. I will call Lake Region TV and schedule them. Wayne, you're welcome if you would like to come. Okay. And I will work with you, Catherine, on getting some information in the newsletter.
Amy and I talked earlier this week, she's gonna get me.
Say what?
Amy and I talked earlier this week, she's gonna get me something.
Oh, good, for tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Okay, if you, I'll try to work with her too. Thank you.
Can I bring something up, which is sort of tangent to this?
Sure.
Getting sandwich boards or something like that, so that we can put out public meeting notices. I don't think everyone sees them, just having them in the newsletter and places like that, but having it physical.
Physical.
Church has one.
What? The church has one, but having, the town having them so they can use them for all meetings.
I'll
See what you can come
Yeah.
up
let's see
with.
what I can come up with. I can't imagine they cost that much. I'm sure I
Yeah,
can
but
find
having
someplace.
it, yes, for any public meeting or
Yep,
public hearing.
yep. How many are you thinking?
I don't know, 3?
Where would you put them?
Transfer
Oh, out
station,
here, transfer
out
station,
here.
in Crystal,
Station's
Three?
or somewhere.
3, yeah. We'll see what they cost. I can't imagine it's that much.
Transfer station might be good to have.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
That's weekend. I'll do the last weekend.
Next item was the downtown committee, and I think you covered that earlier,
Yes.
downtown revitalization. and-
Yes, just the only question is, do we want to look at bringing back, having some kind of a committee to,
We should brought that, when Matt was sitting there,
I know.
he was, I think he was the chair of it.
oh,
Did you say the state recommends having a committee?
yeah, they'd like to have some kind of a committee to, as part of that partnership, so.
Do we do it? Do we vote on the committee now, or wait till we see if we get the grant?
I would suggest that we wait, see if we get the grant, and then kind of put together, go back to revisit what we were originally planning with the downtown revitalization, and maybe come up with an abbreviated version of that.
Yep, sure.
And at that point, that way we'd kind of be clear for creating a committee, we'd have a pretty clear definition of what we would want to have accomplished.
Sure.
So we'll put it on as an agenda item, either our next meeting or the meeting after.
Okay.
Is there a sense that, the board wants to move forward, and I think John had mentioned some things, sort of a slightly limited scope from a few years ago of what could be done. I just want to mention one other thing too. You're also looking into sort of a related topic, which is this idea of self-service and perhaps some lighting that can help improve self-service, but it could be part of kind of a village revitalization. It would also address the issue of, we wouldn't have to rely on CMP in the future for what we might want to hang, for example.
For flags and things
stuff like
yeah,
that.
exactly, yeah.
So it's sort of related to village revitalization, because it would potentially be the opportunity to put up some lighting that would look decorative, but also serve other purposes.
Yeah.
Can I mention one thing?
Yes.
Related to, back in the fall, we had that letter from the state asking us for authorization. They were supposed to be repairing some sidewalks in front of the library.
Oh, yeah.
Just a reminder about that. I don't expect it to be done in the winter, but at some time in the future, I would expect the state DOT would still be planning to do that sidewalk work.
Yep.
Wasn't that an oops? They're like, oh, we didn't mean to send that to you, or?
It was wrong town.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we were just in the wrong place, so, yeah.
I know.
We have one last item after meeting review. I just suggested we take a few minutes and do a kind of an after-action review of the town meeting. What went well, what didn't go so well, or what do we need to do differently?
Select board needs microphones.
So we
So
don't
Phil
have to get
and
up.
Mike don't have to keep getting up, right?
We have to obviously be sure we get the questions on non-resident voting Correct.
Speaking, you mean?
To be able to speak at the,
Right,
I'm sorry, yeah, the non-resident
yep.
participation by the staff employees
But really,
and, you know, and taxpayers, who normally wouldn't be
we
allowed.
got everything passed, but it was,
But the other thing I just wanted to say is, although the facility, I mean, I think was good, we had, what, 80 or 85 voters. But we just didn't, we don't have, that doesn't have enough parking, at least during the winter, to be able to
Parking was a challenge.
handle that much.
I think you, I think you would,
Yeah,
I think you would if we remind the food bank to move the trucks over to the loading dock area. You know, they had 3 trucks out there that took a lot of space.
so,
They can even go up to Sandy's house. They don't have to be
Yeah, they
there.
don't have to be there at all.
Yeah.
But, and then town meeting members and employees should park in the loading dock area. And then, I think then we would have enough
Have enough.
parking.
so the idea is just to kind of go over some things for the next time if we have, I don't think we're talking about using it for
No, schools.
the annual meeting, but
No, but if we get into trouble and we can't use the school, at least we know now that,
Yep.
you know, the town, the community center could hold 100,
Yep,
120, you know.
How did the technology work there? Was the setup there okay for the technology? Yeah,
Seemed to be.
it worked.
The only feedback I got was the back rows couldn't see the entire presentation. The screen
Oh,
needed
the
to be
screen,
higher.
somebody,
Well,
someone
and yeah.
mentioned earlier about this, I think it was Maureen that maybe said something earlier, when we were meeting with her about something.
Yeah,
Maybe a
yeah,
better screen.
especially because we were sitting in front of the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be bad if we had one facing off to the side for us, so that we, you know, it's tough when you,
Right up in the, looking over
yeah,
our
you keep on
shoulders.
turning around looking,
Yeah, we perhaps maybe
even
maybe
at
we
the
need to
regular
be,
town
maybe,
meeting,
maybe our seating needs to be not in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
more on the angle,
But
so
more
that
on the
we can
side
see
angle,
too.
yeah. But, yeah, other than that,
We could have been off to the side, that's true.
I think it went well, and
Yeah,
we were able to get through. We'll have to think of a fallback plan for the future, so if we have to explain the articles. I think luckily you had prepared, you know, information, the information flyers. So we sort of had enough information about each of the articles to be able to speak to that in lieu of your being able to do that.
oh,
So it's something we should just think about in the future, that it's good to, it's worth putting the time in to be sure there's a sufficient amount of information supporting it. The only other thing I wanted to mention is, I think we've managed with the select board meetings to have very constructive dialogue and very kind of good engagement with the community, and everybody treats everybody respectfully. I think we just had one instance at the town meeting where one of the residents was under the was either she was, hadn't thought through it correctly because she had tied one of the articles from the June meeting into what we were trying to accomplish in December with the dangerous building, and they were unrelated articles.
oh,
But she also then kind of proceeded to accuse us of having some hidden agenda.
and we
So-
lied.
Not Kristen and I, you three.
Yeah, we lied.
Just want to clarify
Yeah,
that.
I know, we lied about something, I'm going, what did we lie about?
So we have a little work to do here to be able to find those kinds of residents and not let them make assumptions, but ask questions. So if there's something they're concerned about, they should come to the meetings, the select board meetings. But we need to get them to, as some of the residents did, they come up and asked us about concerns they had, and we were able to answer those, I think, for the most part. So we have, I think we want to try and be sure we encourage people, if they're critical, you know, come and be critical to us at the select board meetings where there's time to discuss something if they have a concern. And if it's a town meeting, actually on the town meeting floor, don't make assumptions about our motivations, because it's, you know, it certainly winds up with misinformation being shared. And so in the future, I think one of the other things we'll do is try and be sure that we're clear with the moderator, if there are certain instances where we think, one of us can point out a point of order, like a Robert's Rules point of order, to indicate if a conversation is getting off the topic in such a way that it's going to be, it's going to disrupt the whole process, and it's going to be unproductive for everybody. So I think we've got the board meetings working that way, and I think we just have to be sure that we enforce that kind of discipline at the town meeting for the future.
The only thing I can say is I do think even though there were those folks that came to the mic, they were heard and they were responded to, and they were heard and responded to, and I think that's fine.
Yes.
I thought it
Yeah.
went well, even when she said what she said.
Yeah.
I got up and explained that
Yeah.
it's a process that we had no control over.
Well, I'm saying I think we just, it's another thing for the future. I think we can be sort of clear with the moderator where the conversation is getting off track for the article that's being discussed.
Oh.
And that was the case.
People are gonna be passionate.
They are, but I think it's just important when we start to see the dialogue get toxic, that
Yeah.
we just need to make sure we know what the rules of order are, that we can kind of keep it within bounds.
Yeah.
That, just a last thought.
I think the board did fine by not acting, reacting to that, and getting upset and going back at her. So as long as the board understands, don't.
Oh, sure, you can say
Respond.
that. You weren't accused.
No, but because
No.
she did say the whole
Okay.
board, not everybody knew that she didn't mean just the three, no one understood that it was just the
The gang
three
of
that
three?
were on the select board at the time.
So that was the only other comment I wanted to make. But I think we're doing a good job in the board meetings. I think the conversation can get animated, but it's always civil, so.
Yes,
Um,
that's good.
Next regular meeting, Thursday, January 22nd.
We have the workshop
On Monday,
on Monday.
5:30.
So we have a joint workshop with the Budget Committee at 5:30. We'll talk about a couple of things, like some terminology between departmental budgets, the total municipal budget, the offsets to that, like revenues, the use of reserve funds in the municipal assessment. And so if we want to talk about a not to exceed percentage kind of gap, we'll all be sure we're talking about what it's applying to. And I think we'll talk a little bit about some common cross-departmental expenses like wages and benefits, so that
Utilities.
the budget committee and board kind of, this all starts moving off in the right path here. And we'll talk a little bit about the role of the participation of the select board during the budget process, which is in the hands of the budget committee. We talked about whether we were going to record them, for example, if any of the board members chose not to sit in on each budget meeting but wanted to hear the details, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Are all 5 of us going to be present next Monday?
I think so, everybody said they were available.
Are you going to have a presentation or a list of?
No, we'll work up a little list of topics, sort of pretty much what I just, mentioned, that we'll talk about the terminology for municipal expenses versus the assessment. We'll talk about how we're going to apply a percentage if that's what we want to do, and then some of these common things that we want to try and avoid the budget committee spending too much time when they go department by department, talking some things that really should be elevated and talked to.
Who's running this meeting?
Well, it's the budget committee's meeting, so
they'll be running it.
basically they'll be running it. And
They'll be up here and we'll be.
well, we got to talk a little bit about the
I was just wondering the
logistics.
same thing, we put the tables together.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just do the thing like we did when we did
Yep.
we
So-
did the workshop with you.
They have other agenda items as well. They still have fees to finish up. So this will be the first agenda item,
And then we can leave.
and then we could, yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
Let them do their job.
Yes.
So they don't feel like.
Yes, it's another way to kind of cap the conversations by putting us first. And then they have other business, so,
Good.
okay?
Sounds good to me. Motion to adjourn?
No,
Is that
I
what you
just-
want?
I just have.
Oh, wait, Mike has something.
One other thing?
Yeah, I just saw the letter in here, I saw it in our email too. Can we get this on the website, just so people are aware of what Cumberland County
Oh, yeah.
Sheriff's
Yeah.
Department, that they've already, can we get that on?
That's really good information to have.
Yeah, so people understand what's going on, can we,
Um,
basically, so that people,
I don't know, the website, it's without any context. I don't know whether, should it go in the newsletter with a little explanation?
I'll do a summary of that
summary.
email.
Yeah.
Summary. It doesn't have to, just to let
That was quite enlightening.
the public know.
Okay, good suggestion.
We got a letter from the Cumberland County Manager, James Gallo. And he basically said that their proposed budget currently stands at a 5.37 increase. And this is largely driven by the jail costs and negotiating of 4 different unions. But basically, one of the things in this is that if the DOC does, which is the state is pushing for, not letting ICE use their jails, which they still can use, we will be, basically our budget will, because right now the federal government gives us 3.3 million. And without that revenue, our increase will be 13.77%. So
It's about the Cumberland County Commissioners vote to cooperate with ICE or not, is that?
Yeah.
And if the county commissioners vote not cooperate with
Well,
ICE,
to do away with the contract, then the federal government has no
will not.
obligation to pay us, but they still,
but we're obligated to still
we're
house.
still obligated to house their prisoners. It's ridiculous, because they still have the right under federal law to use those jails.
So the town manager will try and
Yeah,
summarize
just
that a
something
little
so
bit.
people understand, you know?
Yeah.
That should,
Okay,
thank you.
Don't see that.
then if that's it, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion's made, seconded, all in favor? 8:30.